Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Heavyweight champions Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury have been stoking the fires, throwing out a number of different comments out in the media regarding the other. So Joshua, and I'll get to his statements as well as Fury. So Joshua saying that Fury is on his hit list, but he isn't relevant until a contract is signed. And Tyson Fury saying that Anthony Joshua is going to do a Bambi dance when he hits him. So we'll start with some of the Joshua comments first. So talking to The Sun, and see here on screen, undoubtedly the fight that I want is Tyson Fury. He's holding something that I want. He's on my hit list. You never know what you're going to get with him. He's either at the top of the world, conquering the world, or at the bottom of the ocean, and he needs to find a balance. But at the moment, he seems to have found one at home working out with his wife. He says things about me all the time. There is so much back and forth, but Tyson Fury is only relevant the day me and him sign a contract to fight. The day he and I are going to fight is the only time really that I should be talking about Tyson Fury. I don't really want to be in that position where I'm talking him down. He says a lot of controversial things, and I know if that was me, I just think he gets away with a lot. But the work he has done around mental health has been very impressive. And further on, he goes on to say, and this is in response to a comment that Fury had made. Joshua says, but all that jumping on him like the little fat boy did stuff, that is all irrelevant. He's a great person. He's done great things in boxing, but until the day we fight, that is where it ends. I don't have anything to say about him. I really want the belt he holds, and that is where I stand. Anthony Joshua's statements. And what is he actually talking about when he talks about that jumping on him like the little fat boy did? Well, that's in regards to some comments that Fury had made to Redknapp's home fixture. So the comments he made, first time I connect, his legs will do a dance. I'll just jump on him like that fat kid. I'll tell you what shot it's going to be, should I? Left hook to the temple. You're going to see him do a Bambi dance all over the ring. Going on to add as well, AJ's style is tailor-made for mine. Upright, walking forward, classic defense, strong and powerful, but no footwork, hardly any resilience, and a bit gutless when it comes down to getting clipped. I'll knock him out after 2 to 3 rounds. Tyson Fury statements. So this is a fight we all want to see. I guess the question is, when would it happen? Right now, both are occupied with other opponents, potentially 2 opponents before they could come together in the ring. And a lot of people say, just make the fight now. And I guess if they were to make that, it probably wouldn't be for undisputed. But actually, would that really matter? But I think given the sort of vagaries within boxing and the way that the belts drive the casual audience and the money that's involved, I think they'll stay the course, because ultimately a fight between these two, the longer it drags out, the bigger it's going to get in some respects. We saw, and I think this is a good parallel, the initial talk about Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, when that was being talked about being made in 2018, it was of a certain level, but it just kept growing and bubbling away, fan interest. And there came a point where I think it sort of peaked in terms of the interest, but I don't think a Fury and Joshua fight has sort of reached that point yet. And fans do know that there is actually some fighters ahead, of these two guys that they need to take care of before likely an undisputed fight could get made. But if we go back to some of the comments, we'll start with Joshua, because he says, he doesn't want to talk about Tyson Fury, but he is talking about him here. And I guess it's hard not to when you're addressed by the media about one of your biggest division rivals, that, this is going to be one of the biggest fights of the decade, if it can actually happen. But when he says that Fury says a lot of controversial things and that he gets away with a lot of it, I think that is very true, but that's because Tyson Fury has always ridden that fine line about controversial sort of issues. He's said a number of things, and after you say something, so often, and if it is, controversial statements, people come to expect it. They're not shocked or surprised. That's why some statements by someone like a Joshua, if he says the same sort of things, of course that's going to, get a bit of a side eye from a lot of fans who don't expect it. But that's also an advantage for Joshua when he wants to really sort of hit home with certain statements. We've seen it before when he's sort of dropped some swearing, towards Jarrell Miller and other comments. I mean, that got people talking, and that built some of that rivalry up with Miller. But of this other statement that Fury is only relevant the day the contract is signed to fight, in part, I can see what he's talking about, but, some people are going to take that the wrong way, that Joshua is dismissing Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury himself, very sort of big and bold comments regarding Joshua doing a Bambi dance, that he's going to be on him like that fat kid, and Joshua responding directly to it. So clearly he didn't like that to some extent. But this fight, when it does happen, I know Joshua fans and Fury fans have their respective views about what's going to happen and that their man will win. The thing I'm fascinated about is, that these two basically have each other clocked in terms of what they can expect in terms of a traditional sort of fight. So it's the game plan for me. What would they look to try to do different to sort of unsettle and unseat the other? Because we saw Joshua did show some adaptability in the Ruiz Jr. fight. So using movement to try thwart the shorter Ruiz. Obviously, that sort of style is probably not going to have the same sort of effect against the bigger, taller man. But can Joshua, come up with a game plan to try thwart the taller man who has the height and the reach advantage overall, and probably would be looking to pepper Joshua with jabs and right hands as he's coming in? And for Fury, we've seen him adapt multiple times. In the Wilder rematch, he was able to do it. He was able to show something that we really hadn't seen before, and Deontay Wilder was, sort of caught unawares. Like, Fury told him he was going to do it, but he didn't really expect that he would. So Fury very confident in what he's going to do to Joshua, and Joshua obviously, being respectful to a point, but not saying too much about what he would and wouldn't do against Tyson Fury. And obviously he probably doesn't want to give away the game plan, where Fury, he doesn't really seem to care what people know about what he's going to do or not. He's going to be implementing something that he thinks is just too much for Joshua. But the whole comment about that Fury isn't relevant until the contract is signed, yeah, I see what he means there. But I guess some people are going to get a little bent out of shape about that. And with some of the stuff in recent days, with Fury reportedly, according to Forbes magazine, earning more than Joshua, there have been a number of comments slushing around, and some of the fans of these two respective fighters going back and forth, having a bit of a bun fight on social media, in comment sections as well. But what did you make of these statements from Anthony Joshua? What did you make of the talk from Tyson Fury? Got to make him do a Bambi dance, as he says. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.